Welcome to the Tell Our Stories podcast. I'm Perry Chris. On today's episode, I got the chance to volunteer with Community Projects for Seniors, a group dedicated to fighting loneliness and social isolation amongst low-income seniors in southeast Wisconsin. I was able to attend a bingo ice cream social they hosted, while also getting to hear about their holiday meal delivery program. Every year for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter, Community Projects for Seniors knocks on the doors of thousands of seniors in the community and brings them a hot, ready-to-eat meal. Serving seniors who don't have a family in the area, don't have a place to go for the holidays, can't afford to buy a holiday meal, or can't cook for themselves, the volunteers spread cheer not only with the food, but also with the conversation and connections they're able to bring. Listen in as I got the chance to speak with volunteers, seniors, and the founder of the program. So grab your silverware and get ready to gobble up today's episode of the Tell Our Stories podcast. If we could start by having you introduce yourself.
Yes, Jeffrey Hansen. I'm the executive director and founder of Community Projects for Seniors.
Awesome. Can you tell me about how Community Projects for Seniors came to be?
Well, I started it basically in 1986. I was working at the Fall Corporation, and back then I was real close to my grandfather. He lived with us. We grew up on Milwaukee's northwest side, and every day, every night, he would take a walk. He'd always walk. It was his evening walk. Mm-hmm. He'd walk to Washington Park, and this particular evening, it was right after Thanksgiving, he took a walk down to the park, and he never returned. Mm. And so the news media was looking for him and everything like that. They had his picture plastered in all the newspapers. So it was right before, I think it was a day before Christmas, and a young lady and her daughter were ice skating on Washington Park Lagoon, and the little girl looked under and seen a body underneath the ice. And unfortunately, it was my grandfather's.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And he committed suicide. I found the suicide note. And I always said to myself, you know, he had a loving family, and nobody knew he was depressed, and he took his life, you know, in having a loving family like that. So I thought, look at all these seniors that have nobody, no family. And then that's when I started Community Projects back in 1986. So a bad situation turned into a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're almost at 40 years now with Community Projects for Seniors.
Yes. Yep. 40 years this year. Mm-hmm. Next year. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, and when it started, what was the scale when you first started, and how did it start to grow?
Well, when I first started, we had three volunteers. Mm-hmm. It was my mother, my aunt, and my uncle.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah. And then every year we just kept getting, people involved, friends of ours, relatives. The word got out, and right now, presently, we have about 700 active volunteers.
That's outstanding.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So what were some of the first projects that you did with the group when it started?
Well, the first project was a meal program.
Okay.
That's our main focus.
That stood the test of time, clearly.
Yeah, because we're really not a meal program. We're trying to brighten the lives of seniors that are depressed and things like that. So we do a meal program on holidays and Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And back then, in 1986, we were covering Milwaukee County and Waukesha, and we only did when I first started, we only did about 500 meals. Mm-hmm. And presently, we are delivering, our volunteers are preparing and delivering approximately 4,000 meals every holiday. Yeah,
that is tremendous.
Yeah, so it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. What has been some of your favorite successes that you've had with this group?
The best thing is getting a call from a senior and just having them cry and saying, this was the greatest day of my life. I had nobody coming to see me. I was alone. I don't have family in town. They're out of state. And our organization just showed that they cared.
Yeah.
That's probably the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. With the volunteers that you said you have over, how many volunteers?
700. Yeah.
Volunteers. What's the age range like of the volunteers usually?
I would say anywhere from 30 to 80.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, we need younger ones.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What would the process be like if somebody was looking to volunteer and get involved with this program?
So if they wanted to volunteer, they can, go to our Google Community Projects for Seniors.
Sure.
Go to our website, cpsforseniors.org. Or they can just call me directly on my cell, which is area code 414-708-2413.
All right. Write that down, everybody. Write that down. Okay. So what is the scale in terms of how many different facilities you're able to service right now?
Well, right now we are servicing 200 buildings. They're all subsidized housing. And we cover 8 counties. So we deliver to all Milwaukee County, Waukesha, Ozaukee, Washington, Racine, Kenosha, Jefferson, and Walworth.
That is quite
So
the
8
impact
counties.
you're having.
Yeah.
So outside of the meal programs for the holidays, Easter, Christmas, and Thanksgiving, what other things are Community Projects for Seniors up to?
Okay, like one of the things that we do, the second biggest impact for the seniors is probably our care package program. And what we do is we get donations, paper products like toilet paper, Kleenex, paper towels, different things like that.
Yeah.
Healthcare things, health associated items and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And our volunteers deliver them like 3 times a week. So we're all over the place delivering these care packages. And actually, I get more calls from the care packages crying again and thanking us than I do for the meal program.
Really?
So it's really great.
Wow.
Yeah. Because they don't have, they can't afford, you go to the store, you get Kleenex is expensive, toilet paper, all that stuff's very expensive.
Yeah. The care packages, the things that are in them, it seems like some of those things that you don't typically think of when you think quickly about this sort of, area.
Right.
And so what is that like, having to be able to, get into some of the more specific and, those addressing needs that you don't think of typically? Well,
yeah, they need that. I mean, you go to the store, I mean, you know what the prices are and stuff like that. And there's so many seniors that call me and they say, Jeff, I ran out of this. I really needed this, and you guys came at the right time, the right place. You were at the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
so
that's fantastic.
Great, yeah.
What would you say the biggest challenge or challenges is for the work that you're doing right now?
The biggest challenge is money.
Sure.
I mean, when I first started in 1986, I built up the database by we had, we'd call them, I don't call them telemarketers, but they were, I can't think of the name of them, outreach organization or whatever. So I had like 21 employees calling for donations to build up that database.
Yeah.
And then throughout the years, we just eliminated some of the employees and stuff like that. And you know how it is now in this day and age, it's hard to reach anybody by telephone.
Yeah.
So we're all over the place. We're all, giving talks and the presentations, at Lions clubs and Kiwanis clubs and things like that. A big thing is we have 700 volunteers. A lot of them, they work at different companies. They spread the word to their company, and then we get like foundations that donate to us and everything like that. But right now, I think our budget is like $500,000.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, knowing that you guys have such a wide impact around Southeast Wisconsin, we're speaking here to a nationwide audience, and so if the people who aren't able to be present to volunteer, what are ways that they can get involved? Is there can they do donations online? Is there just supporting social media? What's the ways they can get involved?
Yeah, they can definitely go on social media.
Okay.
They can definitely do that. Facebook is great. What else they can do is they could run a product drive, which a lot of them do.
Yeah.
And they collect items through their church or whatever like that, and then we'll have a volunteer pick up the items, or they can drop it off at our office or whatever. But that works out really good. Or they could come in and make phone calls, or if they can't make it out, make a phone call from their home or something like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been so great to hear about all this, and I'm amazed to see all the work you guys are able to do.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. If I could have you introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Chris Geiger. I've been volunteering with Community Projects for Seniors for about 13 years.
Wow.
Been mostly doing the meal delivery.
Sure.
But then also have, in fact, this last year, they do community field trips out to West Bend, to
Oh,
a place
really?
called Blue Lotus. Phenomenal campus. Blifford family had a getaway out there, and they decided to share it with other nonprofits.
Sure.
So every Tuesday from the middle of June through the end of August, Jeffrey and his group gets a busload of seniors
Yeah.
and drives them out there, and they arrive by 9, leave at 2, and most times they don't want to leave.
I bet. Yeah. How cool is
And
that?
so I had the opportunity for 9 Tuesdays this past summer to be out there, and they have a big pond that they can canoe, kayak,
Oh, great.
do paddle boats,
The works.
and
Yeah.
also fish.
Oh,
and
perfect.
so I love to fish. I just don't have enough time for it.
Sure. Well, then, two birds, one stone
Oh
here.
my goodness! And to have the opportunity to help a senior or
Yeah.
a disabled adult catch a fish, they may not want to touch the worm. They may
Sure.
not want
Hey,
to touch the fish.
I get it.
But I'm there for them.
Yeah.
And that's my job, and I enjoy every minute of
That
it.
sounds like a good gig.
Yep.
I've heard you're also on the board. For
Yes.
Teachers for Seniors. Okay. How long have you been on the board?
About 6 years ago, I joined.
Okay.
I was working with a group that owned and operated a lot of the senior apartment buildings, so it was a natural
Mm-hmm. Sure.
because I had the same tie-ins with the residents and the staff.
Yeah.
And so to have the opportunity then to become more involved, it was a natural progression for me. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
since then, I've done a couple of these things for different TV stations, and
Oh, all right. So this whole setup, you're familiar.
It
You're a
is.
pro.
It is. Not a pro, but it's such a great organization to
Sure.
talk about that
Yeah.
it's not difficult
Yeah.
to talk about. So
That's
I'm
great.
happy to do this.
Yeah. So tell me about how you got involved 13 years ago.
One of my coworkers had been doing the meal delivery,
Mm-hmm.
and they had, especially between the short time period of Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the same number of families available because of travel and holiday commitments and that type of thing. So
Right.
they were short, and so they said, "Hey, are you available? Give us a shot and see what you think." And
Mm-hmm.
so my wife and 2 kids decided, why not? It was a commitment of maybe 2.5 hours complete, so
Yeah,
it wasn't
not bad.
like your entire holiday
Right.
was gone with just doing the volunteer work.
Yeah.
You had all the rest of the day to spend with family and friends. So that's how I got started, and it was just a natural progression from there.
What, did it start with one specific event, and did it like grow, or was it just a waterfall? As soon as you got in, you were looking for every opportunity you could?
It was the meal delivery
Okay.
because that was what was important to me, knowing that the seniors in the buildings that we dealt with, as cohesive as you think the community might be, it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
And so the loneliness and the isolation, I compare it to COVID when we all were forced to be isolated and to go through that period of time knowing that the people that you wanted to visit or talk to or be with are there, but you can't get there. And so to have somebody who may be in their apartment 360 days of the year and maybe come out for a couple of events here and there, that's where it really resonated with me.
Sure. Yeah. So you said your family is involved in this as well.
Yes.
How long have they been doing it for? As long as you have?
They have it. They helped me during their middle school and high school years,
Sure.
but then they went off to college.
Right.
And so that's difficult. Even though they're home for the holidays, there's all the catching up to do.
Yeah.
But now we've got both my son and daughter are, they'll help as needed as, time allows.
That's terrific. So on a typical day where you're doing the meal delivery for the holidays, how many different places are you able to get to in the day?
Usually it's just one big building.
Sure.
And there have been times where Jeffrey has sent me down to Kenosha County, for instance, and there are a bunch of small buildings, and we could hit 3 or 4 in a morning.
Yeah.
But those, especially the further away projects, they seem to have lost contact and interest in the. So our building that we go to is Arlington Court Apartments in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And it's a Milwaukee-run project. And it's something that we've done now for probably the last 6 or 7 years. And so we know the people.
Yeah, so you've been going to the same place for
Exactly.
that long. Okay, so you get to
Yes.
have some connections there with the residents, I imagine.
Correct.
Yeah.
And especially with the opportunity to have a TV station follow us.
Oh, terrific.
They started at the meal prep area
Yeah.
so they could see the line and how that all performed. The delivery of the meals into the vehicles by the staff that does that, and then us following and going to the actual site.
Yeah.
It was amazing because the people that we're giving the meals to, they recognized us, so they felt comfortable. So
Right,
it wasn't
right.
just like you're opening a door and a camera is there saying,
sure.
hey, Merry
Sure.
Christmas.
Right.
So it worked out really well.
Yeah, and I can imagine that means so much because, correct me if I'm wrong, but a big part of the clientele that you serve during these holidays are those that they don't have the family nearby to be able to spend the holidays with. And so having a familiar face come by on those days, I'm sure means so much to them.
Not only the familiar face, but the kids. They
Yeah.
love to see kids because most of them are seniors or disabled adults. And the disabled adults, for the most part, are mentally challenged. And so they're just big kids anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just this euphoria of, they feel so good seeing somebody, little person handing them a meal.
Sure.
And it works both ways
Yeah.
because my kids enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, that's terrific. What would you say is your favorite part of these days that you get to deliver the meals?
Probably just the excitement of somebody, well, let me step back. The meals have changed over the years, and the caterers have changed, and we now have a caterer that puts together a meal that is in a clamshell that gets sometimes to be so heavy that the seniors can't handle it on their own.
Wow.
And so that's the great part where they say, oh my, this is 3 meals for me, not just
Yeah.
one meal. And it's that's the part that you can spread the joy even farther.
Absolutely.
And so to be able to say, oh no, you can't grab it on your own with one hand. Let me put it on the counter. They're like, oh, it can't be that heavy, and then they pick it up, and it's just. And then the second part is the kids in the community put together placemats, and so holiday themed, of course. And so they can be as simple as just crayons on paper, or people have gone to the extent of gluing and sparkles and all the rest of it. And you would think that these are all works of art because you'll see them hanging on the next holiday that you deliver on the front door.
Yeah.
So it's not to be used as a placemat.
Sure.
This is
Well, that's a personal touch.
this
That's
is
the-
yes,
yeah.
yes, and they really look at it that way.
That's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So, last question I have is
Sure.
if somebody in the area is thinking about volunteering, but is thinking that this during the holiday thing sounds too daunting, what would you say to somebody who is perhaps on the fence about looking to volunteer with
I
Community
would
Projects for
say
Seniors?
contact us and go through an orientation. It's a 50-minute process, and you get the entire bulk of everything that gets done. So it's not just the meal delivery on the holidays. It's the Blue Lotus camp in the summer. It's the parties during the off season.
Yeah.
It's the delivery of care packages.
Yeah.
It's the combination of putting the events together that
Yeah.
are fundraisers. So there is something for everyone.
That's terrific. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for taking the time. It's been great to talk to you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. Can I ask you to introduce yourself?
My name is Carol Robles.
Can you tell me about how a meal delivery goes on Thanksgiving?
It's very organized.
Okay.
Yeah, and they deliver it to our door.
Sure.
They knock.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody don't answer their knock, then someone else will hold their meal for them and give it to them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's nice. I like it that they do that. But most of the time, all of us are home when we know the meals are coming.
Yeah. What are your favorite parts of the meals?
Oh, jeez, everything.
Well, that's a good
really.
answer, yeah.
Everything. It's really good. It's a lot of nourishment in them and the right stuff that we need to eat.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah. I've heard that also they come with some placemats and things like that.
Oh yes, yeah, we've had placemats, and actually I have one that they gave me. It's a placemat, or I could use it as a cutting board.
Oh, great.
So
That's quite
yeah, I
helpful, I
like
bet.
that.
Yeah. Is it just they drop the meal off and they go, or do you get a chance to talk to them for a little bit?
Oh, we talked to them.
Okay.
Actually, when they came to bring the Thanksgiving meals, we were in the community room, and one of the persons that was with them came in and sat down with us, and we had a we had a nice talk with her.
That's lovely. That's
Yeah.
lovely. And do you also participate in this during, I know they do Christmas and Easter as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what does it mean to you to be able to have these meals, and not only just the food, but to have the volunteers come by and get to spend some time on the holidays?
Well, for one thing, I'm very thankful for it,
Yeah.
and I, I like it when they come here because they're very pleasant people, and really
Yeah.
nice.
Absolutely. What would you say is your favorite part of the meal deliveries?
Probably the mashed potatoes and gravy.
Okay, yeah. That's
Yeah.
a Thanksgiving classic.
Yeah, and of course the turkey was very good this year too.
That's
It
great to
usually
hear.
is. The
Yeah.
ham, we get ham for Easter.
Very nice.
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is something that people perhaps wouldn't expect about this, but you get to enjoy it?
They were thinking the meal wouldn't be hot when they got it.
Yeah,
But
okay.
they were hot when they came.
That's good.
Yeah, so and actually one changed her mind that she really likes getting it because
really?
it was a hot meal.
Okay,
Yes, I
yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there was somebody who was thinking about joining this program and receiving those meals, what would you tell them would you say it's a great idea? How would you advertise it to them?
Oh, I would tell them it's a great idea, and the food is good,
Yeah.
and it's good for us because there's a lot of nutrition, and then dessert, of course. They get we get dessert too, so that's good.
Yeah.
And a couple more did sign up after I talked to them
Oh,
about
good.
it. Yes, they did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The volunteers that you're able to speak to, are they the same ones every year? Do you get to see some familiar faces?
Different ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But then you get to
Different.
meet new friends, I suppose.
Well, actually, when we were talking to that lady I told you about when they came for Thanksgiving, one of the residents here knew her family.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
How
they
about
had
that?
they had a good talk
Yeah,
about
small
family.
world, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm so glad you get to participate in this, and it's been awesome to hear you
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about it.
My pleasure.
If I could have you start by introducing yourself.
Okay, my name is Deborah Davis. I've been living here at Booth Manor for about 6 years.
Okay. All right. And how long have you been participating with the Meals program for Community Projects for Seniors?
This is only my second year,
Okay.
but what I've got, I've loved.
Yeah.
I just had the meal today. It was great.
Oh, great. Okay.
So
Can you tell me about Thanksgiving Day and how that meal was?
that I wasn't here for.
Oh, sure, okay.
I didn't participate in that one, but
Gotcha.
but I was here last year for it, and then now, like I said, I just was here for the nice meal today.
Yeah.
Playing the games. I won 3 times.
There you go.
3 different games.
All right.
Which I love. I love games.
And we love winning, I bet.
Well, yeah, that too, but more it's just getting together.
Sure.
And it's really nice to feel like somebody's watching and caring for the
Absolutely.
seniors.
Absolutely, yeah. How often does Community Projects for Seniors come through here?
Well, I know I was here for it last year and this year, but not Thanksgiving. But
Okay.
but I did sign up for the Christmas meal
Yeah.
for this year. And so everything I've ever had from you guys has been good.
Yeah.
And you give lots of gifts, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah. What does it mean to you to be able to have these meals on the holidays, when necessary,
It means a lot because a lot of us don't get to be with our families. There are many that don't really have much family around here.
Yeah.
Maybe they live in another state or something. So it just means a lot because nobody really likes to eat alone, or maybe not even have anything to make or have, because when you get elderly, you don't like to cook as much. Doesn't mean you don't like to eat.
Sure.
But it's harder to cook when
Yeah.
you get older. Like it's harder to stand. It's just harder to do
Yeah,
things.
absolutely. Having done some interacting with Community Projects for Seniors today myself, it's really fun to see the variety of volunteers that they have here. I imagine it's really fun for you all to see, just the width and breadth of different, walks of life coming in and helping out with activities and stuff.
it encourages us and it puts us in a better mood. So,
Yeah.
we all like to be cheered up.
Sure. Can you describe to me how the sign-up process goes for getting one of these meals during the holidays?
Well, someone here usually posts the list, and then you just sign up at your leisure.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what you
So
do.
pretty easy, pretty,
Yeah, not
pretty
too
low
hard.
bar to entry. Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. And will this Christmas be your first meal that you've gotten during the holidays from this program?
Possibly. Yeah,
Okay.
it might be, but it's hard to remember what happened yesterday, let alone what happened last year.
Sure, absolutely.
So sorry, but whenever I've had a meal,
Yeah.
it's always been good, and if it's always been from you guys since I lived here, then
Mm-hmm.
it's always been good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Something we've heard from other people is that it's not only great to have the deliveries of the meals themselves, but to spend the time talking to the volunteers as they come through. Are there some familiar faces you've been able to see, some connections you've been able to establish?
No, but everybody is it seems like they like their job,
Yeah.
and that they're having a good time seeing us have a good time. So the camaraderie is really
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you were talking to somebody here who is thinking about signing up for even just coming out for the bingo today or for the meals that they deliver, what would you say to them in terms of how it goes for you?
I would recommend it to them, and
Yeah.
I would say, hey, if you haven't come, you should join us because it's worth it,
Yeah.
And I don't know, we amongst us, we sometimes say, I wonder why more people don't come.
Sure.
So it would take us maybe encouraging or telling somebody about it,
Yeah.
so that maybe next time more will come.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's terrific. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was great to hear about your experiences.
Okay, thank you. You're very welcome.
I'd like to extend another big thank you to Community Projects for Seniors for not only letting me come spend time with them today, but also for all of the amazing work they do year-round. If you want to get involved, you can head to cpforseniors.org to learn more about volunteer opportunities near you. As always, you can hear more from us at Tell Our Stories on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. If you have a story you want to share, please send us an email at info@tellourstories.com. Thank you for tuning in.